Well, we're working so hard. We got so many things going on that I don't even know what day it is. You know, Monday, Friday, Monday, Friday. You know, like you and I know both. So I truly appreciate you having me on because we have a big problem here in the United States right now. We got a lot of people who are not stepping up. And one of the biggest things that we have, the RNC called me and asked me to get on every show possible. So now I'm round the clock. And what they're asking for is poll watchers and poll workers in these states. We're really desperate in Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. Just to give you an example, in Wisconsin alone, we're down 1,500 poll watchers. That's unbelievable for this country with the condition we're in. So if you go to right here, protectthevote.com, protectthevote.com. We just got up on yournews.com. We're sending out articles everywhere in the United States, every radio show, every TV show. And why is that? Because if the people aren't going to step up, we're not going to win this election. There's no question about it in my mind and your mind that no matter what President Trump does and no matter what he says, unless the people get involved, it's not going to happen. So about 2 years ago, you could see in the background, I was up with President Trump. And we were talking about precinct strategy, which, you know, you always talk about. And precinct strategy, there's 4,000 slots in the Republican Party. There's still only 2,000 people involved. Now, I started 4 years ago on Steve Bannon talking about this on your show, every show, and there's still 2,000 people involved. Now, yes, there are people getting involved in other organizations, but we need you to get involved in here in this organization. It's very important. So go to precinctstrategy.com. You can look this up. It tells you how to become a precinct committee man, committee woman. I am a precinct committee man in Broward County, Florida. I'm the vice chair of Broward County. And this week we're going to have a big event at Gulfstream Racetrack, which I hope you can come. We've already got 300 people. It's a big fundraiser for all the candidates because we're trying to protect the candidate. We have Senator Scott, Roger Stone, Dave Walsh will be there along with all the candidates. And it's very, very important to do that. The other thing we need to do is, and another problem we got is Trump47.com. You're right up there in Mar-a-Lago. You know, yesterday or a couple of days ago, they tried to assassinate him again. And this is a terrible thing that's happening, and the United States has to step up. So I don't blame so much the Democrats. I blame the Republicans. And, you know, you asked me what I do. I'm actually a poll watcher also. Here's my little sign.
Very nice.
I believe in what I say.
My parents.
And try to get up.
Excellent.
So we're going to talk about a couple of things, but I first want to talk about Steve Bannon because Steve Bannon's in jail. A lot of people are forgetting about him. You know what happens when you go to jail and nobody hears about you, boom, you forget about it. So we made a little shirt here, and normally I wear it, but so if you go with standwithbannon.com, you go to that little website, you can pick up the shirt. Now, one of the main reasons I came on the show today is to talk about our election security meeting.
Right.
Now, if you take a look in the back over there, there's a little picture of myself and Trump. I was up in his office a couple of years ago on one of my visits, and we were talking about the 2024 election way back there in 2022. And he asked me what I thought. And I said, well, look, things haven't changed that much since the 2022 election. He says, you're completely right. I know you do the precinct strategy. I endorsed it. So why don't you get involved with the precinct strategy and the election integrity together and move them together? Well, I said to him, look, I really don't know much about election integrity, but give me a few weeks to find out what's going on. So about 3 weeks later, I got about 50 people together and we started our Zoom meeting. Now, you know, I'm 83. You sent me a couple of letters for my birthday, and that's a terrific thing. But you have to learn something new every day. So we've had this thing for 2 years, and a strange thing happened about 4 months ago. I got on Steve Bannon in the morning, and that was the morning of one of our election security meetings. And we were talking about this, and, you know, as I said, we need to get people involved on this election integrity because we don't see anything much different. And I'm going to talk about how we see worse things down in the 2022 election. So what happened was 1,000 people signed up for this election integrity meeting. And Bannon says to me, we're going to put this live on Getter. Well, I didn't know what that was going to mean. I figured we'd get 1,000 people on. We had 28,000 people on. So I said to him, well, you got to learn something every day. So I went to one of the events with Wayne Root and with a couple other people at one of Charlie Kirk's events. And I started getting interviewed, and I asked these podcasters, would you mind putting this up live? And they said, of course, we're glad to do it for the election integrity thing. And a girl named Melissa Redpill put it up live, and she had 28,000 people on. So last 2 weeks ago, we had some great people on. We had Greg Stenstrom, Catherine Engelbrecht, Terry Raposa, Joe Hoff, Bill McKinley. We're going to talk about him in a little bit because he's really helped me. Steve Timodello, Dan Schultz, Ann Vandersteel, many people on. And we ended up with 150,000 plus. Now, you know what it is to get 150,000 plus on an election integrity Zoom, because we all want to have shows and we all want to get as many people on as we can. So we got 50 podcasters to put it on live. Now, we're going to have another one, and that's why I'm on here to tell everybody about the one coming up on the 25th, because we have limited time to change what's going on in our election security thing out there, because, you know, you see every day, because you're into it, how they're trying to steal the election. Yeah. Well, first, 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, President Biden at the time says, yeah, we're going to spend about $2 billion of your money, and we're going to get kids in school involved. We're going to do TikTok. We're going to do everything we can. We're going to get everybody in the government to vote for the Democrats. We're going to pay people to do this. Republicans just stood there and didn't do it. So on this particular one, we have Kerry Talasco, who is this week is talking about only citizens vote. So only citizens vote this week is a national thing, which we sent out 150,000 emails. She sent them out. Cleta Mitchell sent them out. Cleta Mitchell went to Congress telling everybody this is only citizens vote week. Now, why is that important? Because our people, again, didn't understand this until maybe it's too late, that a person coming through the border, of which 14 million have come through, maybe more. Trump says 20 million. So I have no idea. Nobody knows what the real figure is. But anyway, how are illegal citizens available to vote? Well, President Biden, he set up something online where anybody can put their last 4 digits of social security number and get a registration. The other thing is the NGOs, which most people don't know what NGOs are, stands for non-government organizations. When the people come through the border, you see all these buses taking them up to New Jersey, into Ohio, into Michigan, North Dakota, South Dakota, every one of these cities who are getting thousands of illegal aliens who are taking these cities and just tormenting people. And not enough is being said about that. Not enough in the news media is being shown about it. So how can they vote? Well, here's what happened. The NGOs take them to get driver's license. You see all kind of lines all over for people getting driver's license, because you got the regular people trying to get driver's license and all these illegals coming in. Now, when they get that driver's license, they're eligible to be able to get a voter registration card. So the NGOs take them. Most of them are Spanish or don't speak English. And what happens is they say, just check that little box. They don't know what that box is. Well, that box says you're a U.S. citizen. So they're doing that, and now they're eligible to vote. Now, those things go up to all these Secretary of States. The Secretary of States don't know what to do. A lot of them don't want to do anything, because in Democratic areas, if they did anything, they would be ostracized and maybe thrown out. So Kerry has this thing with Cleta this week of only citizens vote. Then we're going to have Deb Monks on. She's up by you, and it's how to use the public records to reconcile election results. Very important. We're going to have Ann Vandersteel on. She's going to be talking about the border and the people who are coming in, because a lot of people don't realize who's coming in. You do, and I do, but the average person doesn't know there's a whole UN force coming in. Right. They're being trained down in Panama and many other areas. Ann went down there to see what's going on. Colonel John Mills has been down there. And they're finding out that these people who are fighting age are being trained by the Democrats in case they want to use them. So she's going to talk all about that. I don't want to give too much information on this. Then we're going to have Kim Yater on. She's going to be talking about the border and giving the power back to the people. Dr. Frank's coming on, cleaning voter rolls. Jeff Bongino is coming on. Non-citizens voting. He's going to show you how we can get those non-citizens off the voter rolls. He's got a lawsuit up again by you, a little bit above Palm Beach. Christine Bauserman's coming on. She's got a whole thing on how to win the election. Mike Davis is coming on. He's going to be talking about his Article3Project.org. John Vieira, one of the most important guys who we don't seem to know a lot about him, but he's coming on to talk about his VotifyNow.org little app. And why is this app important? There's millions of people on this app. A lot of people don't know about it. A lot of people, like Mike Lindell said, he's coming out with an app. He hasn't done it yet. Also True to Vote. But this app has been out for 2 months. I've been working with it 2 years. I've been working with him for a long time. Johnny V will tell you all about it, but I suggest everybody get it, because this is a way that you can put the information in.
This video
polls and you see somebody doing something illegal, bam, you put it in there. So he'll talk about that. Next guy coming on is Todd Callender. Todd Callender's Clout Hub. He had 20,000 on us last time. He's going to talk about that because he's down in the Bahamas and he doesn't get a lot of chance to talk about all that stuff. Our main guy, Greg Stenstrom, he's going to be talking about his lawsuits in Pennsylvania. He's done a wonderful job in what he's doing. Chris Gleason's going to be coming on, and he's going to talk about vote by mail and also about the illegal votes that were sent out, or the illegal ballots that were sent out in Pinellas Park. 319,000 ballots were sent out on a Sunday on the primary, and nobody knows how they got out there. So he's going to be talking about that. Then we have our special guest, John Fredericks, who's got a show on Real American Voice. He's coming in to talk about getting out to vote. One of the most important things that we don't talk about is getting out to vote. Everybody thinks, hey, everybody's coming out to vote in this election, but it's not true. 5% of the people say the election will be stolen, and they don't want to really come out to vote. So that's some of the few things that we're working on. I have a few more to say, but I always like to give you a few questions because, I talk a lot and don't get a chance to.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Well, we're telling everybody to take their ballot directly to the polling place and give it to them there. And why would you waste your time putting it through the postal service? Because we've seen in the last election where they dumped some of the ballots, that came from Republicans. So we're asking to do that. Also, a very important thing. Seth Kessel, who you know very well, he has come up with the 30 counties that are going to make a difference in this election. Now, we have talked to people. Let's take Pennsylvania, Allegheny, Erie. I'm not sure if you can see this. Berks, Philadelphia, Montgomery, and York. Well, I just got off the phone with the guy in Philadelphia because, 2 years ago and 4 years ago, they wouldn't even allow the people who are poll watchers and poll workers to even see what's going on. And in Detroit, you heard what happened in Detroit. What happened was 1,500 poll watchers were given to the Democrats and 50 for the Republicans. And of course, we sued and do all this stuff. So it's important that everybody goes to our event here on the 25th. It'll be 2:00 Eastern time. If you want a link to it, go to stern1054@gmail.com. We'll send you a link. Give me a call at 954-318-6902. And if you don't get a link and you want to see it live, it'll be live many places. But our Rumble channel, Stern American, if you go to Stern American Rumble channel, it'll be live on that. And I understand that you guys are going to try to put it on live also. So we're going to try to get 200,000 to 300,000 people on because it's so important that people learn what's going on. They have no clue. You ask people about the border. I've talked to Republican radio stations that the producers told me there was only 125,000 people coming through the border. So people don't even understand. Now, we have some great people working, even though we don't have enough, we do have great people. We have a guy in Texas, Robert West, who did the 5-star plan. You can see that on this. Done a terrific job. In California, which, we don't want to throw out California because California is working very hard. I have a girl that saw me on Bannon about a year and a half ago, and she called me up, Tina Saline, and she said to me, can you turn California red? I said, hey, I'm good, but I'm not that good. But I said, let's try. So we started with about 100 people, then we got 500, then 1,000, and then 10,000 people, of which I interviewed 50 of the candidates, and I found out a lot of information because you've got to find out information all the day and spread this information to people. Now, one of the things that the most important thing that even if we don't win this election in the House and the Senate, we need to get people who can fundraise and not charge all these people running for office high amounts. They charge them 70, 80%. When the Democrats just give these guys money and don't charge them anything. So, it's very, very difficult for us to win elections if we're going to spend, this money for the people collecting it and not giving it to the candidates. So we also have in Idaho, Dorothy Moon, who's worked out fantastic, because you don't want to take some of these states that we know nothing about and not bring this to the attention. Minnesota, David Penn, he's got a big tire company. He's helping out the guy running for Senate. And my favorite person in Vermont, Stacey Malloy, her husband Gerald Malloy, is running for Senate. And very important race because, every race is important. And one of the things is we only see President Trump on the news. We don't see all these candidates on the news. It's very, very bad because if we don't win the Senate here, even if we lose the presidency for whatever reason, if we don't win the Senate, we could lose the Senate completely because they will change the law to get 2 states more involved, D.C. and Puerto Rico, which will hurt us quite a bit. Yeah. And in the House, if we lose the House, which you don't see a lot of races being shown on TV or any place, and that is dangerous because we need to get these people up there. So I'm working with every podcast, every show, asking to get people on because we need to get these people to be seen. If we don't get them to be seen, then how are they going to win these elections? Because the Democrats are pumping in money everywhere. I mean, you can see this, that every person I speak to, the money is, they could be the worst Democratic candidate in the world. They got $6 million and our guy's got 50,000. How are we going to win elections? You know what I'm saying? So it's just so mind-boggling that you and me, you know, I know how much you do, that it's so difficult. So what happened was about 2 months ago, I got pissed off because nobody was answering the phone in the Democratic and the Republican Party or in the Trump campaign. So I got a hold of Boris Epstein and I said, Boris, look, and you know, he's the right-hand guy to President Trump. I said, look, nobody is doing anything. I said, you're not going to win these elections if the grassroots aren't involved with the senior management. Right. So he got me together with Christina Bobb, who got blocked by everybody in senior management. So I went back to Boris. I said, Boris, it's not going to happen. Christina is a great person, but she's being blocked. She tells me she's being blocked, so I know she couldn't help. And she also got indicted in Arizona. So we got Bill McGinley. Bill McGinley, as you know, is one of the big attorneys who worked for the RNC. So it took him 2 months, but about 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting with 8 or 10 of the higher people, and I don't consider myself the higher people, but Moms for America, AMAC, AIPAC, many companies like that, along with 6 of the top Republican people. One of them was the head of election integrity. So after the meeting, I called him and I said, hey, will you speak to 8 or 9 of our great election integrity people because you guys are not using our information? And one of the biggest girls that we have in Connecticut, Linda Sinkowitz, who I called up Bannon's program and I said, you got to get her on. They got her on. She's on every week. Why is she on every week? One, she was down in my office 3 times. She's the only person I know that's getting people off the voter rolls one at a time. She's letting everybody know how to do it. But the most important thing she's doing, she is getting every organization in the United States that wants it, 500 people that voted twice or have registered twice. Now think about this. Every county in the United States, people have voted twice or registered twice. Now, there are people that registered twice, but it's not their fault because, you know, you move in a city and you forgot to tell them to take you off the voter rolls. But that means they're getting 2 ballots because normally what happens is they don't realize that they're sending a ballot to this address and a ballot to that address. So are they using them both, you know, because they may be folded? Yep, 100%. And it's going to be rampant here because what's happened is the Democrats are finding every way that they can do to cheat. Now, we got Michelle Swinick in Arizona, who is shown time and time again with all kind of attorneys how bad they've cheated in Arizona, and it just doesn't go anywhere because they just keep blocking every place. Now, when you think about it, if you put it on a piece of paper, all the ways that they could cheat, it could be up to 20 or 30 things. Oh, yeah. And, you know, every place in the world they vote on election day, boom, they vote, they get it over with. This is, I mean, they're even talking about all these places where they deposit their ballots. How can anybody actually watch that? Who's going to watch it 24/7? Well, it is actually our generation that's doing something because those are the only real people that are working. Now, maybe not everybody, but I can tell you because I speak to them all the time. They are the people that are retired and are working.
Right, they're the ones that should get out there now.
Stu Snowden and, you know, and where you are in Palm Beach and Linda Stock, these are older people that are working. And every person that comes to a lot of our meetings and organizations are that. It's the young people that are not getting involved. It's the middle-aged people are not getting involved because they don't spend an hour, give me an hour a week, right? You get 1 million people give you an hour a week, you can do a lot of work. But what happens is the Democrats use their money from all these tech guys and pay the people to work. The Republicans want them to volunteer. Right. And I can tell you as the vice chair of Broward Republican Executive Committee and in the BREC for 20 years, it's been the same. Nobody wants to do anything. Now, just at this little Gulfstream thing, we had a committee of 20 people, 3 people work, myself and 2 other people. Now, it takes me 8 hours a day, 4 weeks, basically spending all my time to get 300 people together, $100,000 for the candidates, because people just are lazy. They don't want to work. Now, I don't know if God touched me in the head, and said, you're the guy that's got to do it.
I feel the same way. I don't know. I don't know what happened here.
Look,
but
there's nobody do more than you. I know you're on all the time and you speak all the time. And when somebody asks you to help, you are the one to do that. Now, what I've changed now is we're getting all the podcasters in the country. Ann Vandersteel was nice enough to do this. Matt Meck has helped me. There are so many people that have helped me that it's unbelievable. We have other people that are helping too. Jill Howell in Alabama. We couldn't find conservative people in Alabama. And you say,
a ton. Yeah.
Alabama has got to be conservative. No, it's the establishing people running that place. So she got me 20 people, and now we're building that.
Great.
Paul Bodine in Nevada. You have to get people in every state. Well, that's what happened. I went to lunch today with my wife, and somebody came up to me. I was wearing my flag shirt, and they said, you must be a Republican, because I know Democrats don't wear it because they don't love our country. I said, sure, and I handed them one of my cards. So I always keep cards in my wallet, and I pull them out, and I replace them every night and make sure I have 6 cards in my wallet so they never get out. So next Wednesday at 2:00 Eastern time, send me a text or an email at sstern1054@gmail.com. You want to buy a flag shirt, go to theflagshirt.com. We are the largest in the world, and we spend a lot of time on doing that. But I want to talk about one person that I haven't talked about, why it's important. We talked about the older people. I have a young guy in Connecticut, Dominic Lombardi. He's the youngest chair in the history of Connecticut and maybe in the United States, 20 years old. He started his career at 16 years old. And he had dinner with President Trump here about 4 months ago in March when I ran my election, where you spoke down at Trump International.
Right.
Of course, Trump almost got shot again over here. And unfortunately, and I always told him that, why are you having this Trump International without anybody going through a metal detector? And you can walk right in as a guest or anything like that. How do we know who's even going in there? They don't even protect them. I was up there about a month ago, and I walked in, I had lunch, and he was there. He stopped in. Nobody's checking to see if I had anything there. Of course I didn't, but I mean, we got to get more protection for him, because those Democrats are looking to eradicate him because they didn't want to have an election. They just want to walk in. And, we're very scared about this because you've already seen 2 attempts, and who knows what they do to his food or anything else. So, everybody's, a guy like that is, he's just unbelievable, but it could happen to anybody. I mean, it happened to, Kennedy. It happened to Reagan. He got shot. It's unbelievable how this united. And 14 million people that came through the border. How many are terrorists? What are they waiting to do? You know what I'm saying? So again, we're going to have a great meeting. We appreciate you getting me on, and action. And